Hello, I'm Tan the Tan BOTC channel, and I wanted to talk about a game called Wuthering Waves. I had to play it, not streaming it, sadly, because it was not going to run well with OBS at all. It had some problems. I had to turn down some settings and stuff, even when I was trying to play it without streaming it. But when I tried streaming it, or even have OBS on, just in general, it's not going to work. It's not going to work out. So uh, I just want to talk about it. And I'll have something in the background. There it is, by the way. So I had to play it off camera, give my thoughts on it. But I posted this. I'm somebody who's talked negatively about Cyberpunk. If you like Cyberpunk, that's fine. That's up to you. I know some people have had the magic that I have with some games with that game. When I played it, and it wasn't even because of glitches, even though that is a factor, but like even now, it just looks like it's a mid game to me, even with the updates and stuff it gets. It it just doesn't grab me. And I love Cyberpunk stuff. I love Blade Runner. I love Johnny Mnemonic, Dread, which is a lot of the stuff it got its influences from. I even love games like Deus Ex series. That series is awesome. Um, but I thought the anime was okay. I don't think it's as big as people make it out to be, but I like it. I like it fine enough. I'm so glad they made this. I actually really like this crossover. This crossover was really cool. And these characters are really cool. And I was talking about, and I've talked about this before, but I love the designs of these. This is probably the closest we're going to get to like live action looking versions of these guys, which they don't need to be because they're anime, and of course they're going to have style and color and personality to them. But man, would I love the JRPG, and that's kind of what I saw in what Withering Waves was doing a little bit of Cyberpunk instead of what we actually got. And I think this of most of the characters in the game. They're just all freaking so stale looking with their designs. Um, of course, this is a freaking Keanu Reeves, but look how boring these character designs are. You got Reject Winter Soldier with a guitar. Like, also, what is with the clothing? Why is the clothing so bland? It's just a tank top and like a freaking farmer pants, whatever those pants are called. I forget the name. But they just did not try with these guys. Even this guy is like trying to be edgy. He's kind of like the Darth Vader of this universe in a way. He's a bounty hunter though that has less. He has a lot less screen time than even Alduin in Elder Scrolls. The most character he actually gets, other than yeah, of course, there are parts where he's talked about as well as like things you can pick up to read or whatever about him. Is not only are people not probably going to pay attention to that, but who cares? He has a really lame boss fight, if I remember correctly, at the end of the game. Um, Also, depending on like what you do towards the end, uh, which endings suck like hell. But also, this character basically takes over all the screen time. I'm sick of these haircuts, by the way. The same goddamn haircuts that's been used on every character in like so many games now. Just sick of seeing it. Panam's probably the only one that gets away with the design, because at least there's a little bit more color going on with her. I don't know. I hate these designs. For a game that has like such a popping like title, that's so bright yellow. Hell, the frickin' irony of that being the main character, David, has a similar colored jacket that helps him pop out. And yet, it's one of those glowing collar jackets, basically, that you see almost every other character, including V, advertised with. And I'm sick of seeing that too, but at least this one's unique compared to those and has a purpose because it's something his mother gave him and what sadly happens to his mother later. But yeah, I thought Withering Waves replication of it, I thought it was going to be a Night City more. It was a little bit, but not much. And it's mostly like dream sequence stuff. Um, They do a good job replicating stuff from the game, sound design, music, and such, as well as from the anime. I think it spoke more to the anime, of course. And man, such good animation. That last battle with Adam Smasher got me super hyped. Um, there's actually more moves. He's actually a way better boss battle than he was in frickin' Cyberpunk game, and has more purpose just in this universe than he does the. It almost like they are two separate universes, even though they're supposed to be the same uh, universe. But it kind of feels different because when they advertised this as a crossover, they advertised it as a crossover with Edgerunners and not 2077. It didn't even have the 2077 moniker or whatever. But you know that they are in the same universe, but it's almost like they advertised it as if it's separate from it. um, I do think that freaking, by the way, I saw the compilation on people reacting to her swearing. I do think it was pretty funny because it was kind of unexpected for something like Wuthering Waves, which I think is trying to be somewhat tame. But to hear that all of a sudden and have it bleep out, I think was the perfect combination of just like getting me to laugh. There are a couple of times that it doesn't work, like when there's supposed to be emotional moments, and there is. I will say there's the emotional moment by the end that did kind of get me to tear up a little, seeing certain characters come back together. Uh, it was actually really good. I was surprised by this. Good storytelling, more great character development with these characters. It just goes to show I would rather a JRPG. Now, I think a sequel to the live action universe we have is still possible to be very, 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 very good. I just think that freaking Cyberpunk 2077 was very mid. The reason I think that is not only from what we see of the Edgerunner stuff, but what we saw of the DLC. But once again, DLC doesn't shouldn't be the pillars that hold up the foundation, which is the rest of the game. Those pillars can only hold it up for so long, and the rest of the foundation, in my opinion, just isn't very strong. But those pillars are pretty strong. They're going to hold it up. But I just don't think the rest of that foundation is very good, in my own personal opinion. I've talked so much about the Cyberpunk game, but oh, there's one of Dave's memes. Sorry. But I thought this was a really good. I love the animation. It was very colorful. I love the animations, especially with frickin' Rebecca, when you got her special move. And it's just so stylized and so cool. I love it. I loved how the story played out, especially once again the ending with the cut scenes and the music intertwined with the boss battle. It was freaking awesome. I actually had the boss. I showed my friends a video of somebody else fighting the boss. Sadly, they didn't give the boss enough time to really do much, so he just kind of looked like he was standing there motionless a lot of the time or not doing much. But if you kind of let him do a little bit more, he does have other moves, as well as he actually had one that almost finished two of my characters, and almost like Injustice 2 finisher kind of move or like ultimate move, whatever you call those. That was really cool, and I wish they got to see it. But yeah, these characters are out. You can get the typical gotcha way. You can technically get her once you get to level 10, basically free, which is cool. I appreciate that. I'm still trying to get her, of course. I've tried a couple of times with using the currency that I get from, you can just get a certain currency from doing missions and stuff, or finding certain things out in the open world. And I used a couple on the red orbs that you can use towards her. And whoops, sorry for that. Uh, I still haven't gotten her, but that is one way of getting her. There's another way. I think if you get like 120 orbs, basically, there's eventually I think it's the equivalent of a character voucher that just gives you her. So, or you can choose her, which is cool. But yeah, I think Dave's memes. I think that's about it. I do plan on replaying Cyberpunk again. I need to get a better graphics card though. And then once that happens, I'm gonna get it when it's on sale. I'm not buying that full price. Frick that. Why would I? But yeah, I thought it was really good. Like that was a pretty cool crossover. I loved the cutscenes. I loved the way the story played out. The ending, the fact that it even got me emotional like it did, kind of makes me want to go back and watch the anime now. It was pretty good. Far better than the game. Uh, it's so funny. Frostbreak kind of nails it on the head with some of the things because he shows a lot of the problems that are genuinely there with Cyberpunk. There are other YouTubers I definitely wholeheartedly agree with that I still think their videos age fairly well, like Actman's video on Cyberpunk. The one that isn't about the glitches, by the way. Uh, the one that's why is Cyberpunk so bad? It should be why is Cyberpunk so mid now for me personally. And then Manly Reviews, which I believe he changed his name, his channel name. Um, what was the other one? I know Beat 'em Ups also made a good one. I think 321 did one. Some videos that nail it on the head with how I feel. Yeah, those are more the YouTubers that's nailed like how I feel about the Cyberpunk series that I just don't want to go into depth like I have. And yeah, but it's just I also found the irony, by the way, and like I don't know why I didn't think of this, but I remember CD Projekt Red loves to over advertise things. Like you know how Fallout didn't even have like McFarlane action figures until after like season two, basically, of the Fallout show. They didn't make action figures until then. Well, Cyberpunk pretty much had action figures, statues, toys, well, same thing as action figures, comic books, and then the anime, of course, uh, before the freaking game was even in a fixed state, a playable state. So, uh, kind of goes to show where freaking, they're, like, I don't know I'm forgetting the word for it, but you know what I mean. It kind of shows where their minds are at. Over advertising it, is that something what a corpo would do? It's just another corporation. Hell, I wouldn't doubt it if eventually one of these days, sadly, From Software and Arcane, not Arcane, uh, Larian eventually, sadly, turned to greed and did a bunch of stupid stuff too. I do see that as being things that are many years down the line, but uh, they're not going to be able to avoid it either for long. So every company eventually succumbs to greed. It just depends on the leadership that takes over, as well as the mindset of the people and the time and place. So it can change just like that, sadly. But nonetheless, it's just crazy how many things came about that, and they're still advertising to hell. Like, you can probably argue that it makes sense now. Well, then again, the anime's been around, hasn't had a season two or anything in forever, so you could honestly argue that there's no point to them doing this. But yeah, it's just, yeah, when they over advertise their stuff somehow more than Bethesda did. Now, Bethesda's definitely greedy in a lot of other ways, but there were definitely times where CD Projekt Red fricked up from crunch time, and I think I even found an article where they lay off 100 employees back in 2011. But yeah, they've also been the victim of some stupid things, sadly. And then all the promises and stuff they made during that game and its launch. And I know they got hit with COVID, but no. There are other games that got hit with COVID, whether they had been hit by it longer or not, uh, that came out more successful and didn't have to do the resort to the things that CD Projekt Red did. So I don't see that argument holding up very strongly. Yes, we know Thanos did nothing wrong. Now, can we shut up about it already? Anyways, I thought I might as well make that joke because that's also blatantly stupid, just as stupid. Um, but yeah, I thought this was a really good crossover, and it's one of the better ones. The fact that it made me feel emotional, the fact that it was very beautifully animated, and I enjoyed the boss fight with Atom Smasher, even if the character still kind of sucks. But at least he has more of a purpose in the Edgerunner side of the Cyberpunk universe, rather than the 2077 side of the universe, the video game side. But anyways, it gives me hope that they would do a JRPG instead. I thought that would be cool, but hey, you can't always get everything you want. And here's hoping that the sequel's really good when they have that come out. Hopefully, I will be like, frick yeah. And you know the funny thing, I didn't even buy Cyberpunk 2077, by the way. I didn't even pre-order that. My friend Dave did, and we game shared that. Um, and I think I beat the game before he ever did. I think he still hasn't gotten through it because he kind of just gave up on it. But I beat it, I think, twice, and I was just like, eh. It kind of had the same feeling that Outer Worlds had on me, where the more I replayed it, the less I liked it. Outer Worlds felt the same. There was kind of an enjoyment with Cyberpunk, even though the glitches did get in the way at the time. Uh, that aside, at first I was like, okay, I'm having fun. And then the more I replayed it, it just slowly dawned on me, just like how many problems started building up for me. That both games went from like an 8 out of 10 to a 7 and a 6. And then I was like, you know what? I'm gonna stop. If I keep saying this, it's gonna go lower with my feelings, my vibes. And I never felt that with other games, but those were the two, especially, that I felt that. There was a time where I did enjoy Cyberpunk, but uh, yeah, even I forget that I had those moments. But anyways, I hope you enjoyed or found something interesting here. Sorry that this is just the background. I will see you next time. Let me know what you think of the crossover. I thought it was pretty cool. I will see you next time, and you have an awesome day. Bye.